Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the hole in the wall. Get on in here because we have a good amount of stuff for you here on our desks today. We're going to talk about drama surrounding the recent Magic the Gathering Championships. We're going to take a look at previews for Marvel superheroes that were just dropped. The cycle never ends. And got a segment about some game changers, but not the ones you're thinking about. So let's dive into the main topic today. Goblin, what's going on in Worlds?
Well, the main thing on everyone's lips, other than is it again shooting to the top of the meta game? I think 7 of the 8 decks in top 8 were is it decks, or at least had red blue in them. Because I think there was one teamer deck as well. I might be top 16 though. Anyway, um, there has been a big discussion, controversy, um, kerfuffle, I don't know how you want to put it, about takebacks in Magic the Gathering. Now, traditionally, at least the comic shops I played in back in the day were pretty cutthroat. You know, it was almost like chess rules, which they even like allude to in some of the documentation we're going to look at later here. Starting with this one Reddit post, and you can look anywhere um, that talks about Magic the Gathering to hear about this controversy. But to sum things up, we're going to take a look at this post, get into the clip, and then finally look at the actual rules about the situation. So, this is in our spikes. For reference, for those that have been watching the broadcast, see this video, and he links the video. We're going to look at it. Seth casts Boomerang Basics, targeting his own Monument of Endurance, and then at time marker 135:35, he asks to take back the play. To me, I don't think a take back should ever be allowed for any reason at a professional REL unless the game action was illegal. It's the responsibility of the table spotter and players to uphold the integrity of the game, and it was only after 25 plus seconds had passed that Seth realized he had messed up and asked to take back the play. I think the judges should have forced him to commit to it and play the game as it should. This was the World Championship, not a kitchen table game. Should this have been allowed? Did this have a meaningful effect on the outcome of the game? I'd be curious to hear what people think and their reasoning behind it. So before we look at the clip, Nimi, how do you feel about takebacks at tournaments in general? I think the biggest events we've played in are like 1Ks and like regional events. So like at that level, how do you feel about takebacks?
Pretty chill when it comes to takebacks, but it depends on the setting. And the more, I guess, professional, I guess would be the words, quote unquote, you get in terms of play, the less I am responsive to allowing that stuff. Like when we were playing at a locals with the boys, just at the shop, yeah, sure, take it back. But we're learning. We're there to have a good time. But when you're there at a competitive level, you should know what your deck does. You should know how everything works. You're professional. Like you have to
Yeah.
act professional and play professionally. So I'm under the argument that if a play has been made, that I would not allow a take back. Now that's a two-way street. So like if I mess up, I own it and move on. But it's especially at that high level, a world's level event. Like if you make the wrong play, that's on you.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And at these big events and at like professional level, like these games are won and lost on like a razor thin margin, right? And those small play mistakes eventually lead to wins or losses for either the mistake maker or the one who notices and capitalizes on the mistake. But let's get into the clip before we give too much more of an opinion, because I kind of have a lot of thoughts about this, but I feel like context is important. So in the post, they talk about Boomerang Basics being targeted at 13509 timestamp, but I feel like it's important to just kind of watch how things play out from just a little bit sooner. So we're gonna go here at 13310, and hopefully we don't get banged for playing too much of this, because I do think it's important to see some of the context here. And the casting team really adds a lot to the analysis of what's going on here. So let's take a look.
I will discard, draw. Discard, draw.
And these are off the artist talents.
So Ken's job now is to try to just like kill the creatures basically and
Right.
hope that those monuments are in the bottom.
Basically
couple of cards.
kill the creatures and kill any monuments that go onto the battlefield. So if I have a disenchant effect, those Soul Guide Lanterns, I don't care about them anymore.
Yeah.
I am just trying to go after your win conditions, and maybe you deck.
Notice right there, the casting team comments that Ken Yukihiro's only way to win this game really is to stall out and try and weather the storm, because this Isn't Lessons deck just churns through cards so quickly. He should, if he can weather the storm at 14 life, be able to deck out his opponent before his opponent can cast, Seth Manfield that is, can cast Monument of Endurance enough times, or Monument to Endurance I think maybe is the card name, enough times, and discard enough cards to trigger the 3 damage effect enough times to kill Ken. I think it's important to realize that that's how both players are kind of trying to analyze this game at this point, right?
We're rummaging real deep in the barrel here for, hey, is there any possible way for Ken to get out of this? Because it's really up to Seth.
I mean, take a look. Seth still hasn't found the third monument yet.
Oh,
You know,
is that library getting a little short
It
there?
does not look very big. It looks like maybe, I don't know. I mean, 15 cards? Something like that? We need to have a cards left in library counter at this point.
I mean, he has 9 cards in hand.
Now remember, Seth is still very, very firmly in the lead here.
Yeah, oh, here's the count.
And
We got the count.
We got.
That did not look like
It
very
didn't take
many.
long.
So it looks like there's about 5 or 6 cards left in Seth's library altogether. Nemy, I know this is your favorite situation in the world, trying to win the game before you run out of cards in deck. How do you feel about what's transpired so far?
It's stupid.
Okay, yeah, there
Well,
hasn't
well-
really been much that has happened yet.
Long answer short. I mean, I like playing the card game, not really watching the opponent play solitaire. And decks like this aren't my cup of tea at all, just because they are very sequence heavy and they're time consuming,
Yeah.
as you can tell. It's not my cup of tea, and you get situations like this where you very well could beat yourself by just decking yourself out.
I think that's very important to say, is that the way a lot of times you lose with these solitaire style decks is you deck yourself out. You brick, essentially. Well, let's just get into the actual mistake
On the
here.
count. Let's just
Dude,
put it that
seriously,
way.
that looked like 8,
Right.
7, maybe?
And remember, you have to rummage to trigger Monument to Endurance.
Exactly.
Does Seth have to wait till he finds both monuments, play them on the same turn?
Dude, there's like 5.
4?
5.
You see 5?
2, 4. I see
4.
4.
There's 4 cards left.
Okay, there's one of the monuments.
Okay.
What is Ken at, 13?
He's at 13 life. That's 5 triggers. That's 5 cards. You have to rummage 5 times.
What is
So here we
going
go.
on here?
He taps his land. He's looking at the Boomerang basics in his hand. Even the commentary team is kind of confused about what's happening here.
He does have Storm Chaser's talent.
Boomerang of the monument.
Okay, you get to reset the monument here, right, by Boomerang Basics.
And he
So we talked about chess rules. His hands are off both the mana and the Boomerang basics at this point, and he's laid it on top of the Monument to Endurance. To me, this would indicate that like that is the target without any verbal communication.
Yeah, he even did kind of like a pseudo point with the card before he laid it down too.
Yeah,
Oh,
almost kind of asking like, does this resolve? Right.
yeah, all indication, like it's pretty clear from just a viewer's perspective what has just transpired.
He needs to do 3
Right.
life like every chance he
Right.
can get,
So
right?
he rummages off of this, drains your opponent for 3, pick it up, then you can replay it. Don't rummage off the artist talent, of course.
Right.
And then cast another spell. But he doesn't have enough cards left in his deck unless he finds the second Monument to Endurance.
Is this for real right now?
But remember, the bottom...
Can I take this back or no?
I don't...
I already cast it.
Well, you can't take this back. Come on now.
It's fine.
He cast it.
You,
Okay. Okay.
what?
You have how many cards in hand?
One.
Wait,
And there's the
There it
rewind.
is. Yeah, and see, this just screams all type of wrong to me because he even told the judge I already cast it.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I mean, technically, because he could call no targets and technically waste the spell because he said he casted it. So
Yeah.
I guess in theory he could call no targets and then just fizzle and lose the mana. But
He could bounce an opponent's card and not draw. Because if I'm not mistaken, Boomerang Basics only makes you draw a card if you target your own thing. So he could Boomerang Basics and bounce this Saga here. But I do kind of want to go a little bit further into the game here. This is kind of the very end.
That's huge. I think this might do it then. How many cards left?
there's
so that's
3 and now 2.
So that's 2 rummages. This is what you do. You play the Monument, don't rummage, okay? Then you play a spell, rummage, deal 6, on your opponent's turn, rummage again, no cards left in library, 12 damage.
Wow.
Oh my
That is
gosh.
unbelievable.
If that Monument was one of the 2 cards down, I think he loses.
Here's Boomerang Basics. There's
He's gonna
2
bounce a
creatures over
creature
there
with
for
that
Ken,
one,
and he's
so he
just
doesn't
not
have
gonna
to draw.
be able to do anything here.
Yeah,
A second Boomerang Basics,
get you to 9.
and that would put you to 9, so 3 triggers.
And then you get a loot, same thing, right? You draw the card, and then you deal 6 to your opponent. You put them down to 3. So that's just like,
So when he
just need to
discards
not
here,
deck
both of
myself
those
somehow.
monuments
Right,
are
just
gonna
be
trigger.
careful is what he's
Yeah,
thinking.
and then you go upkeep, cast Combustion Technique on your own Grand, rummage once.
And it's
double
perfect.
trigger.
So if it was 1 card deeper,
Yep.
he wouldn't be able to do it.
That's right. Oh, my gosh.
This is as close as you're going to see a
he's actually
victory
at
here.
6
Even
life
Seth
here,
is
not
shaky
7.
here. I mean,
Yeah.
he found it. It was so important that he did.
And there's the combustion technique. There's the loot. And
6
do
damage.
6 to you.
Oh, man.
And Ken's actually at 6, not 7.
Yeah, last point of damage.
And does Ken have anything? I mean, his
So not drawing that card off of the Boomerang Basics totally enabled Seth to win the game here. Well, like we said earlier, he even if he had to expend it earlier and was forced to bounce the Saga or like the Overlord of the Baelmerk, anyway, he could have picked a target on Ken's board, and he still wouldn't have had the copy of Boomerang Basics to use here to end the game. I just want to go take a look at these are the rules for reversing decisions on the Magic Judge resources. I'm just going to read a little bit here, and then I want to kind of get some of your opinions here, Nemy. So, players are expected to consider their options before taking an action, and players are not usually allowed to take back an action that has been communicated to their opponent, either verbally or physically. Sometimes, a player will realize that they have made a wrong decision after making a play. If that player has not gained any information since taking the action, and they wish to make a different action, a judge may allow that player to change their mind. Judges must carefully consider whether the player has gained information since making the play that might have affected the decision. So, the argument online is, did Seth gain new information when he learned that his Boomerang Basics was going to resolve? on his monument.
Absolutely, he did. Well, again, it's all speculation because it wasn't made till after the cast was made. But that's when he made the decision to take it back because he realized what the play was going to do, how it was going to resolve, and how he was going to lose.
Yeah, yeah. The only reason to take it back is because you were going to target the monument, right? I mean, just for casual players like us and viewers of Pro Tour coverage and things like that, the viewer experience on that was rough. Like we were talking about earlier, is kind of expected to be a professional event, and you want players to understand what's going on and like know how their decks work. But I think really it was Seth's intimate knowledge of how his deck worked that allowed him to realize how he was going to lose the game. And I think
You have to think at that level, he should have known that before casting the spell.
right, but everyone makes mistakes. Like I've made play mistakes in a tournament setting, although I have asked to take things back, and I've had both opponents and judges say no, and I've also not asked to take things back sometimes. So I've been on both sides of this before. I have had judges allow me to reverse decisions occasionally too, and it never feels good to win that way, at least to me. I mean, I'm sure if money was on the line, that changes things. And it doesn't feel good to lose that way either. Like, you allowed your opponent to take something back, and they end up beating you because of it. In pretty short order in that situation. I think, if anything, if people want to be upset, maybe it should be at the judge at the table. Not, like, on a personal level, but, like, how he chose to give that ruling, right? How do you feel about all this, kind of like knowing the rules that allowed Seth to take the playback? Like, do you think that he, in fact, did not gain new information in the 25 seconds between setting the card down and then asking to take the playback?
Technically, we will never know. It depends on if he admits to it or not. But if you have that long to set a card on the table, like both players should realize what's going on at that point. And it was an honest mistake. I mean, he just played it and didn't realize that it would cost him. But again, I'm under the inclination that he should have thought about that before putting the card down. I mean, that just comes a part of playing the deck and playing the board. Like, is what's going to happen if I play X card? How will this affect the game state? And that should have been done before the card was dropped. Now, and especially at that high of a level, like uh, Ken is a much better sport than I am than I would be about it. I
Yeah,
would say I would at least even if it didn't go my way, I would at least interject and say, "Hey, no, you made the play. This is you've made the decision."
this is the big time here.
Right.
Yeah, another piece of information here that we didn't quite get to. It says, in particular, players may not try to use opponents' reactions or lack thereof to see if they should modify actions they committed to. I think that's also something that's in question here. But ultimately, I think, for me, I think the judge should have said, you have cast Boomerang Basics, you have not announced a target, right? Like, you've tapped the land, you have a blue floating, you've cast the card, but if you want to make a different target selection, I think maybe I would have allowed that as a judge, but I want to say, even he himself said, I've already cast it, right? So I think at that point, if I was judging the event, which I would never be, right? But if I was, I would say, okay, you have cast the card, announce your target. And now Ken does it resolve. we would rewind things a little bit, I guess.
Seems to be the most fair to me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can see some things like that in the future. I don't think this ruins the integrity of the game or like the integrity of pro play, like some people are saying. People make mistakes, and especially with those solitaire decks, they're very, very taxing mentally. You're doing a lot of drawing and discarding, so it's like a lot of processing new information multiple times in a turn. And I don't really want to vilify Seth. I think really what I want to highlight here is um, kind of the rules processing and how things went down. But I do agree with Nemi that at the pro level, you should have a better
You should.
understanding of what's going on. And if Kin was a good enough sport to allow you to take it back, maybe up 2 games, you should have been a good enough sport to say, you know what, I cast this.
There should be more scrutiny at that higher level. But at the end of the day, I mean, I would much rather focus on someone making a take back of a play than cheaters running rampant. So there's much worse things to talk about, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. I don't think this is cheating at all. I don't think we've
Well,
weighed
yeah,
in
I'm not
on
saying
that
that either.
either way. But
I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying
oh,
there could be worse things.
but people are saying that this was kind of like cheating and angle shooting a little bit, and I don't. I think it's a weird process of the rules that isn't commonly seen, especially on camera.
Is it sucks?
Yeah, please God, no more is it? Oh man, I want Sultai Reanimator to be the hero we need. Either that or maybe Demir can make a comeback. Who knows? Next up tonight is the Marvel Superheroes Preview Prologue. You guys have been hearing my voice a lot tonight, so I won't read the entire article, but we will take a look at some of the spoilers so far, and if Nimi's got any interesting bits of Marvel lore or information about the set, he'll drop those for you as we go along. So Nimi, to give me a small break here so I can get a drink of water, what are your thoughts on Marvel so far, just what we've seen, compared to Spider-Man?
Well, I mean, there's commander decks, which is the first thing that's awful. No, well, I take that back. It's not awful. It's the first bro, what the fuck moment, at least in my eyes.
Why did
Because
Spider-Man get these?
yeah, why? Just why not? Like they've already announced. I think it's 5 commander decks, if I'm not mistaken. At least 4, but I think these. It's so funny, like how these cards are just infinitely more flavorful than what Spider-Man was. Like Captain America enters with a shield counter on him. Like what? Like
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah,
And then you have the one that like I feel called to question was Spider UK. Like it's got web slinging and then something else, but what is he? That's not a British thing.
yeah.
So,
He doesn't make a crumpet token. Yeah,
and just the cards here, they've if the rest of the set is anywhere near as what these cards are, like it's just going to be a home run, and it's a night and day difference between the two. Like you could tell, like they've had so much more time to cook with these versus what they did for Spider-Man. And as of right now, from what I've seen, my favorite card is the Doom Reign Supreme, the enchantment card. Like that card looks like it'd be so much fun in a black deck. Just the inevitability of it and the payoff of playing stuff for free. I think it's going to be it's really flavorful too. I mean, everything about this is just screams awesome. And this is what Spider-Man should have been. And it sucks, but here we are.
yeah. It sucks for Spider-Man, or sucks that we have to wait, or oh my God, there's
Well,
World War Hulk.
that's what I'm saying. Like they like I see the merit of giving Spider-Man his own set. He is a character that does stand out out of Marvel and just superheroes in general. But like I said, like these cards are just so much more flavorful. Like the text like just reads so much better, and it's dog walking what Spider-Man was, and it's a shame. But it's a shame for Spider-Man, I'll say. But I'm really glad that they've so far not fumbled with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think even the integration into Magic itself is better. Like Namor and Atuma are Merfolk, right? That's an already extant creature type in Magic that isn't Spider 100 times. Like Skrull, Super Skrull, okay, he gets a unique creature type, but he's also a shapeshifter villain. Uniquely a shapeshifter that doesn't have changeling, so I think that's kind of neat. And I don't know. I haven't personally had too much time to pore over these. I do like this Sentry Golden Guardian, flying indestructible. Like, there's so much you can do with superheroes in the Magic space. Like you said, if there's more time to cook and more integration. Like, you brought up this Doom Brains Supreme, excuse me. This is 1 and a black for an enchantment plan. I'm pretty sure that's a new enchantment type. So whenever a villain you control enters, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Put a plan counter on this enchantment. When the 5th plan counter is put on this enchantment, sacrifice it. When you do, target opponent exiles the top 5 cards of their library. You may cast up to 2 of those spells from among the exiled cards without paying their mana costs. This is kind of interesting in 1v1 if you can find a way to like ephemerate villains and get multiple enters triggers over and over. This is really fun for Commander because the first effect is for the whole board, and then when it finally blows up, you pick a person. So it's good for starting out even and then targeting a player later in the game, which is something that's a sign of like a fun Commander card to me, at least. So just a lot of good stuff here already. So look at these old style classic comic printings of stuff. Oh wow, look at the whole.
So good.
And we have panel cards, kind of like the sagas from Spider-Man, Coming of Galactus, World War Hulk. We've got source materials. These just look like comic panels that are like covers, I mean. Got more source materials. 3 printings of Heroic Intervention. So a lot of goodies to be had outside of the main set for your collector box purchasers here.
Yeah, and I think that was actually one of the pluses of Spider-Man was the collector boxes and the bonus sheet stuff, just because of the art. I'm a big fan of the source material stuff, and the sagas, the comic strip sagas, are so cool. Like
Yeah.
it's just perfect.
Yeah, those are perfect. Those are a hit.
Yeah. So I think the collector side of it's going to do really really well. Now all I gotta do is just add serialized cards.
Oh, so what are you thinking? $600 a collector? $700 a collector?
Maybe at the start, my guess would be up to 900.
Yeah, I think if you get serialized, it'll definitely hit 9.
But are they going to continue the trend of textless Infinity Stones? And how many are we getting in this set? All of them? 2 of them? None of them?
Yep, that remains to be seen. I'm sure that'll be whenever Turtles comes out, they'll announce those and just completely overshadow Turtles.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? So, anything else you wanted to talk about on this drop of Marvel goodness? Any particular card you wanted to highlight?
I Actually, you're looking at them right now. I really like the Fantastic Four cards. because if I'm right, these are from the commander deck. Like they're all part of it, and it looks like if they're not all a part of it, like there'll be multiple commander decks because they're all the same color, the 4 color, and they all can like be in the command zone, which
Yeah.
I think is really cool. Just to have all of them in there, and they're all about casting non-creature spells, which all of them have a certain effect to do something. And I think that'd be like a really fun 4 color deck to play.
Yeah, it's everything but black. Spell slinging, you got a lot of options. I think that'll be a lot of fun too.
Which makes me believe that Mono Black Doctor Doom.
Yeah, that'll probably be a deck. I haven't had a mono black commander deck in a while.
But I could definitely see because either Doctor Doom, because if you're going Fantastic Four for a commander deck, I mean Doctor Doom's the choice because he's their arch nemesis. Or you could even go more cosmic and do like Galactus because they've had run-ins with him before. So I could see that happening, and then you have like maybe an X-Men deck. That'd
Yeah,
be cool
that'd be cool for me.
because we got Quicksilver, so there's definitely mutants.
Yep. And I
So
mean,
I could, I
Wolverine
could
is in the splash art, so
Right. So I could see it. And who knows, they could even reprint I mean, they might not reprint the secret layers, commanders, but they could give them a different art treatment.
yeah, that'd be nice. Just get access to Storm again.
Yeah, goodness. I mean, I'm excited for it. It'll probably be that and probably be the first set that I really dig my teeth into. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think
Gives me
for
time to save up.
yeah, I think for me, Lorwyn is the set I'm most excited about. Just get it all out of the way, jam a bunch of draft on Arena, and then probably chill out until summertime. I mean, there's stuff I like about Turtles, but I'm afraid the New York City stain of Spider-Man is going to carry over to that set, and apparently it has like a similar design and stuff. So as far as like set size and things, so I'm
Right.
trying to be hopeful about it, but I feel like it's kind of a lost cause.
Yeah, we'll see.
So next up tonight, Nibby actually got me thinking about game changers, but not in the way that we normally think. These are game changers that change the way the entire game is played. So, Nimi, the first card is the one you brought this up to me with, and I just want to get your thoughts on it initially and kind of see what your thought process was behind bringing this card up to me. And the card is Zer's Weirding.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
my card, I picked it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is an enchantment for 3 and a blue. Players play with their hands revealed. If a player would draw a card, he or she reveals it instead. Then any other player may pay 2 life. If a player does, put that card into its owner's graveyard. Otherwise, that player draws the card. Now, this is a very old card. I think it goes. How far does it go back? I think. I
I
can't
mean,
remember. One of the original
ninth
sets.
edition is 2005, 6. So, I mean, this was the original printing of this was probably in the 1990s.
Yeah, so this is a very old card, and not much has really been talked about it, at least of recent. I mean, I'm still relatively new to the game, so can't say that it's can't say that it hasn't been. Ice Age is the earliest I've seen. I
Yeah,
see.
so 1994 is the first time this card was printed.
Yeah, so long time, and this card, I feel like, at least in my opinion, I feel like it sparks a lot more interesting interactions at the table. Especially in a commander sense, it definitely sparks that politicking, as one would say. Like now that everybody's cards are on the table, literally, like there's no real secrets and you know what's coming. And then you do play this game of proverbial chicken where, oh, this person's about to draw a really good card. Do we let them have it? And I've always been a proponent of switching up not switching up games, but just adding more chaos to the table, because everybody that we play with plays pretty straightforward, pretty close to the chest. Not much, a lot of not much talking, and I've actually tried to build around that to very little success. So try to break habits and start something a little more fun. And I feel like this card would do that if put on a table.
So, I think when this card works, and by that I mean everyone has a relatively equal board when it gets played, or one player is very, very far ahead when it gets played, I think it can result in some pretty fun games. I think at less civilized tables, this card turns into Rick will never draw a land for the rest of the game. He missed his third land drop. He's on 2 lands and an arcane signet. And the rest of the table, one of us, every time he draws a card, will pay 2 life or every time he draws a land, to pay 2 life to make sure he never draws a land for the rest of the game. Like, there's
Yeah,
a lot of meme stuff you can do that can single out a player, where everyone at the table says, and this could also happen if you're very far ahead, where you've clearly broken away with the game, and then the rest of the table commits to, oh, he will never draw another spell as long as this Zer's weirding is in play.
yeah. It's very slippery slopes, but at the same time, I feel like it sparks that conversation more because it's essentially like just, hey, let me draw this and I'll let you draw. Almost like I said, a proverbial game of chicken, where I'm able to get my stuff if you let me, and I'll let you do your stuff too. So I think
But that
it
also
re-
has to be okay with player 3 and player 4, right? Because they can kind of edge in on your agreement.
right. So I think it really adds another layer of conversation, which it's fun. That's fun to me. Now, the game can get to a point too, unless you're playing life game, where you can't pay that cost anymore, and you don't have a choice. Like if someone's down to 10 or less life, they don't have wiggle room to make that choice of stopping the opponent from drawing the card. So I feel like it also could potentially speed the game up along too, because we have on our tables, if you've noticed, we have a lot of people that do play it safe and hold back.
Yeah.
And if you're going to spend your life as a resource that way, like you can get bitten in the ass by it, because eventually there'll be a point where you can't do that anymore. Where if you're not doing anything to advance the board state except just stopping your opponent from drawing, you're going to be shit out of luck because now you're in a spot where you have no choice but to be in that same boat.
Yeah. See, that's interesting that you thought, or that you feel like this will speed games up, because I feel like it would slow them to a crawl. Because every time a player starts their turn, they're going to flip the top card of the deck, and now we have a uh, tribal council survival style, or survivor style, excuse me, and everyone kind of decides by committee if that card can be drawn by that player, and then that player's turn might take less time than that discussion did, and then we're right back into another discussion on the next player's turn. So I feel like, personally, if I see this in play, the next naturalize I draw is getting pointed at it, just because I feel like it'll slow the game down.
If you get to draw it.
If I get to draw it, or if I don't already have it, right?
Right, right.
Um. So yeah, I mean the Zer's weirding player can never, or can on their own commit to never letting another destroy target enchantment effect be drawn, right? As provided they have enough life.
Keep it on board. And not to mention the first text of this card is really powerful in and of itself. So your opponent has 5, 7,
players
10,
play
30
with their
cards in
hands
hand.
revealed. So there is no
No-
period where you don't know every card in every player's hand.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I think that will. Oh yeah. I mean, if you want to play it, throw it in the deck and we'll see what happens. Proxy you an Enlightened Tutor to go get it. I'm interested to see how it shakes out. But
Agree to disagree, I suppose.
yeah, personally, I think this is, like I said at the beginning, when it's good, it could be really good and fun. But I feel like it has a much higher likelihood of creating a bad game than a good one.
Depends on your pot, I suppose.
It depends. It depends. If you play with bullies, definitely don't play Sirs Weirding.
Leave that one in the box.
Yeah, but I mean, if you like it, I'd be willing to try it out. I'd be willing to even say like, oh, this is a Zers Weirding game where it's like a global enchantment that has indestructible, right? And it starts the game in play, and the whole game is a Zers Weirding game. Like, I'd be interested to try that.
Could be fun.
Yeah, I think it could be fun.
Or we could lose friends.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Now, what else did you bring to our attention this time? Because this is the card that I wanted to talk about. But you said you had a list.
Yeah, so the rest of these, I don't want to spend as much time on, but they're cards that do, like, similar things. And by similar, I mean, like, they change the entire, like, scope of the game. So here's Warp World from Ravnica. This is 5 and 3 red for a sorcery. Each player shuffles all perms he or she controls into her library, or his or her library, then reveals that many cards from the top of his or her library. I hate the way this used to be worded. Each player puts all artifact, creature, and land cards revealed this way into play, then puts all enchantment cards revealed this way into play, then puts the rest on the bottom of his or her library in any order. So, takes everything you got now, shovels it into your deck, and then you get a completely new setup. And this is for every player. So, like, token decks, spam this thing, get a bunch of tokens, get a bunch of extra value over everybody else. This is just a nightmare, right? This is just start the game over after turn 8.
Yeah. This is just awful.
Yeah.
I would not want to see this at a table at all. I
Yeah.
mean, it's for red. It's. I mean, red can get mana, so it's not necessarily a turn 8 card. So no. No,
Yeah, I
this
mean, you could Seething Song for this, But
yeah, I mean, this does change the game, that's for sure.
this would be what I would call a game changer. Here's one you might be familiar with. This is Dovescape. This is 3 and 3 Azorius hybrid mana for an enchantment. This is back from Dissension, so a lot of these at Ravnica block. Whenever a player plays a non-creature spell, counter that spell. That player puts X/1/1 blue and white bird creature tokens with flying into play, where X is the spell's converted mana cost. Nobody's casting anything but birds and creatures the rest of the game. Have fun with this.
If this sticks, oh my god.
Yeah.
Someone better have an answer to it on the stack, or otherwise, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people upset.
You better be playing exactly Reclamation Sage, or like that monk from back in the day, just creatures with enchantment removal on them, just to get rid of this thing, because you're not killing it any other way.
You want to talk about grinding games to a halt? Like this would definitely do it.
Yeah.
But like you see a spell slinger deck and they just lose. Artifact decks they just lose.
Mm-hmm. You're making. You're casting enchantments and making food tokens? Not anymore. Have some birds.
You get birds. You get to swing with birds.
You get to swing with birds. Oh, you try to cast the next card in our list, Tug of War from Infinity? Nope, you get 5 birds. This this is tug of war. Players play a sub game starting at 5 life. This is 4 and a green for a sorcery. Players play a sub game starting at 5 life, and with up to 3 permanent cards with different names from their main game library on the battlefield. As the sub game ends, the winner chooses one of the cards they put onto the battlefield as the sub game began and puts it onto the battlefield rather than shuffling it into their library. You want to talk about grinding a game to a halt? You and everyone else at the table play a tiny game of Commander inside the game of Commander you're already playing with 5 life.
God forbid someone has life game.
Yeah. Yeah. Your hour and a half Commander game is now a 3-hour Commander game. Enjoy.
Yeah. The funny thing is, the more cards of these you show, Zer's Weirding isn't that bad.
Right? Like, these can get really egregious. Zer's Weirding I'd be willing to try. Warp World, kill me now.
Yeah, Warp World is just...
Dovescape is probably funny a couple times, right?
Yeah. Now you just never have to worry about blue.
Yeah. There's a couple artifact ones. These kind of range in power level. Time Sifters for Mirrodin. It's 5 mana. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player removes the top card of his or her library from the game. The player who removed the card with the highest converted mana cost takes an extra turn after this one. If 2 or more players' cards are tied for the highest cost, the tied players repeat the process until the tie is broken. So not only on every upkeep does every player have to exile a card off the top of their deck, and then we all pair mana costs, and we all resolve any ties, then somebody is going to get an extra turn on top of it.
Which would start it all over again at the start of their turn. So what is a turn? What is a turn order?
This is the nightmare realm of Uno, skip, reverse, back to you, draw 4.
Oh man, someone could just be playing high CMC and then just infinite turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they're playing like Big Eldrazi and weird stuff. I mean, these aren't cards you see very often because they're so miserable. But Knowledge Pool kind of comes up. This is 6 mana. You imprint it. Each player exiles the top 3 cards of their library when it enters. And then whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it. So it's not optional. And then if you do, like it doesn't get countered or whatever, or something weird happens, he or she may cast another non-land card exiled with Knowledge Pool without paying that card's mana cost. So this is bad during the game, but it's worse afterwards when everyone has everyone else's cards in play, and we all have to go through our 100-card libraries and find the cards in different colored sleeves and give them back to each other.
Yeah, this one isn't as egregious.
Yeah, nowhere near as bad as Time Sifter.
Or the other stuff, to be honest. I mean, just kind of like, we're communist in this pot. These are our cards.
The problem with Knowledge Pool is when people start blinking it, and then it gets really weird.
Okay. Yeah, I can see where that being a problem. Like, on its own, in a vacuum, I could see this being interesting. But yeah. I mean, the cards like these are easily broken, and you just gave the prime example. So yeah.
I would put this in the Zer's Weirding category, where I'd be willing to try this.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it being an interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah. The Time Sifter, kill it with fire.
Yeah, Knowledge Pool, you get a turn with it.
Yeah.
you could get a cycle. And
then this is the grandmother of all horrible game changers. This is Shahrazad as a white sorcery from Arabian Nights. Players must leave the game in progress as it is and use the cards left in their libraries as decks with which to play a sub-game of Magic. When the sub-game is over, players shuffle these cards, return them to libraries, and resume game in progress, with any loser of the sub-game having his or her remaining life points rounding down. Effects
Life
that
points.
yeah, yeah, this is an old card. Effects that prevent damage may not be used to counter this loss of life. The subgame has no ante. That tells you how old this card is. Using less than 40 cards, not 60, 40 cards may be necessary.
This card is as old as we are.
Yeah, and I think it's banned everywhere. This thing is the original miserable card. And you can see the hookahs in here. I hope they're full of opium because you're going to need it. Imagine playing
Yeah.
this at a time when someone could have 4 copies of it in their deck.
Oh my goodness.
You could play 4 subgames and the game still won't be over because life totals only get halved.
Yeah, all for half life. I mean,
Yeah.
just swing with a creature. Just,
Yeah.
just put a body on board. Just play lightning bolt.
Yeah. You could play 4 games of Magic or cast Lightning Bolt 4 times and get roughly the same amount of damage.
So funny. Yeah. And see now that you've shown these piles of hot garbage, like I'm firm on my position as Ur's Weirding. We can play that card.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I'm willing to try it out, but I do think it is at least a distant cousin to Shahrazad.
It definitely watered down Bloodline for sure. 5th or 6th removed.
Yeah, it's got that DNA in there. But these are just some fun cards I thought we could talk about since Nemy brought up Zur's Weirding to me. And by fun, I mean fun to talk about, not fun to play.
It's like Play-Doh.
Fun to play with,
Well,
not to eat.
Except you're not even playing with them either. Fun to talk about, not to eat
Not to eat.
or play with. Don't eat your cards.
So finally tonight, Moment of Zen. Nemy, you brought this one to my attention kind of in the 11th hour, like right before we went to record. What do we have here?
Leon's back.
Leon's back. Oh, and he grew a beard.
So upcoming Resident Evil Requiem, I think it's February is the launch day, and now leaks on the PlayStation store showing the cover art has Leon the Sex Kennedy not front and center, back and center in the background. Now, have you seen anything about Requiem at all?
No, but we're about to pull up this trailer.
Yeah, turn the sound off. We don't want to get. We've already been copyrighted and copy struck enough. So
Yeah.
now this is the continuation of the storyline. So this is after the events of 8, if I remember correctly. Now this is a more true to form classic horror style where you're not Leon Kennedy superpower, Chris Redfield super powerful,
Yeah.
and little more isolationist style, and few strong enemies, and you're not not a juggernaut powerful, more of your horror style, but continuing with that story.
Kind of like getting back to the RE2, RE3 roots a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And this one, and specifically, is harkening back on the original games because it's 30 years after the Raccoon City incident.
Wow.
And if I remember correctly, it does take place, or there's sections where it takes place going back to Raccoon City. So definitely a return to home style of game, and more of a return to form too, because this one is a third/second person perspective, so not the first person like with 7 and 8. So
But it's like over the shoulder, like RE4. That was my favorite one. I've actually been replaying the remake here recently.
yeah, great games. One of my favorites of all time. And now with the cover art that's been shown, we get Leon Kennedy in a more grizzled and adult version as he ever was. So it's going to be very interesting to see what his role is, because
Yeah.
we don't all we have is a picture, so we know he's there. And since he's in the cover art, it's going to have some inclination that he has a big role to play in the game. Now, if he's a playable, we don't know. If he's a mentor, we don't know. If he's a savior, we don't know. But I think it's going to be really fun because Leon is a fan favorite character for everybody.
Yeah, I really hope he's a playable character because I would like to see Leon in the context of a more horror style Resident Evil. Like RE4 was kind of the beginning of like the action phase of Resident Evil, and I think it'd be interesting to see the character that kind of kicked that all off kind of go back to the roots a little bit and maybe do kind of like a back and forth between two playable characters, you know? Kind of like
Yeah.
RE2.
And we did have fresh takes on Chris Redfield in 7 and 8, so get to see more of him in a more grounded style role than just punching boulders. So having Leon in that more grounded style role should be really a fresh take on the character, which again I think that's still a lot of people would enjoy to see. Because I know we you just talked about Resident Evil 4. The remake is super good, and then did you play the 2 remake?
No, but I watched a lot of it on YouTube.
Yeah, so uh, it's it's been a big wave of success ever since they started to do their reboots, and this is just looks like it's going to add more to it and a new story pushing forward, which a lot of people like to see, and I don't see any complaints.
Yeah, I'm February 27th. So, a couple months away.
So, and if I remember correctly, seeing the IGN article, there was hints that there's a new trailer or something getting shown at the Game Awards. So, kind of a fun spoiler,
Yeah.
because I think people are talking about there might be some trailers with Leon in them, but we know he's there, which is good because hey, like I said, we like Leon.
Nemy, I think that's it for us tonight. Do you have any kind words for the people on the way out?
As always, we appreciate you watching, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to put us on your background and listen to us ramble on for about 45 minutes to whatever. If there's something you want us to talk about or have any opinions on anything we talked about, I mean, leave it down below. I mean, we're more than willing to talk to people. So we're bored and lonely. We don't want to hear each other speak into a vacuum. So let us know what you have to say. Keep the conversation going.